leaving the Meadows, and it was certainly a good day at the Meadows. It could always be better. Could have won all four, but 2 wins, a second and a third, not too shabby today. Coming into today, I knew that Wayne was the favorite. I didn't know if I would end up racing her on the front or not. Initially, I was going to put Mike in behind me, let Dave go, follow Dave, and that would have been ideal. And she's never really done a whole lot of work on the front end before. Going over the little shadows in the first turn, she skipped over the first two also. She was fine last turn. It didn't bother her at all. She's actually turned into a sweet little filly to drive and do anything with. I was really pleased with the way she raced. A little flat in the end of it, but you can't really blame her. That, as I said, not very often at all have you ever seen My Name is Wayne on the front training or racing. And put them away today and kept them all at bay. Did her work well, and that was and is the end of her season. I will say this: that's the soundest I've seen her all year long. She does have an OCD, maybe even two. There were two found at the start of her stake season. One looks to get rattled loose a little bit, and the other one was in a place that may not be important or in a great operable place, I guess. So that'll be up to Dr. Brown. I had a lot of conversations this week with Dr. Brown, most of them good. Actually, no, all of them were pretty good. So I was happy with the way Wayne raced. She'll go out now. We'll get those OCDs popped out in the field. And before you say, well, maybe one more start, there's no real point. She's going to come back for the non-winners to 2. It's not going anywhere. It's a fairly consistently written race. And when she comes back, she can start in the non-winners at 2. But to put her away off a pretty convincing victory in 56, have her pace 53 a couple of times this year, a good story. A good story in our barn this year. Obviously, she didn't, have a massive bankroll or anything like that, but virtually all her races were very good races, and I was really happy with the way she started and finished her 2-year-old season. Remember, a lot of the times we're talking about the 2-year-olds, we forget that a lot goes on in their 2-year-old season. Sure, you want to win races and make money, but you're also setting them up for their sophomore season and for the rest of their racing career. And I think we've done right by My Name's Wayne, and hopefully that will turn out to pay dividends next year. Next were the 2 trotting fillies. I didn't know what to think. They both trained very well. Now, if you remember, we did ship them back to Ohio. They were in our care up until draw day when they went back to Tim. But I had a chance to sit behind them and train them both up. Changed a few little shoes, as I told you this week. Changed a few things on Don't Ask Again. Minor shoeing adjustments on Cherry's Girl. But how would they race? I had no way to know. I thought they both raced very, very good. I thought that maybe Cherry's Girl, the way she was climbing all over top of the young Miller kid in the last turn, that she was probably going to win. I felt that was a logical outcome. The way that the race had transpired, we lucked out. A couple of the favorites made breaks. We were following a horse that hit the earplugs out, getting into or starting into the last turn. I thought we were in a great place, and when I moved her over, she just kind of stalled there. Quite frankly, looking at her staking schedule, she now has the Sire Stakes Consolation, more than likely. She also has the Standardbred in Delaware, and then the Elimination and Final in Virginia. So 4 more races for Cherry's Girl on her docket. The other filly, she's pretty much done for the year. That was it. We needed to be second to secure a final in the Stallion Series. It did not work out that way, so she is likely heading to the field. Now, we will enter her in the Stallion Series final, but I think we would have been tied for 7th or 8th, I think Greg said, if she was second, and instead we ended up in 15th. So, and that's all on official points, and I'm sure there'll be some horses go to the field, but I don't think there'll be 7 of them. So you'll likely see that be the last start of Don't Ask Again's 2-year-old season. Ended it with a win, a lot of stake racing in the Stallion Series, and did well all year. A couple of races she was a little flat, but by far the best race of her year was the last race of her year today, trotting at 56 and a piece, 29 on the end of it. I thought she raced really, really well. And then closed out the day with 3 Point Blue Chip, the least surprised person on earth that he won today was me. I in the post parade, he just felt, you can tell when 3 Point's got it all put together and he's focused. He just feels just a little bit different in the post parade. And I knew when I come on the track, by the time I get in front of the grandstand, I thought that he was probably going to be a winner. I knew all the horses he was racing against. I just had to make sure that Bat 1000 didn't get in front of me, and that Aaron did. And if those two things happened, it would have been a fairly disappointing race for him not to be a winner. And as I said, I wasn't surprised at all that he got the job done. And you know, a big thanks to Dave Maloney. He took care of this horse the last 2 weeks. You know, 8-hole last week, run him up the wood, fished him out, trotting towards the front, going under the wire. And as I said to him, and as I say to you all the time, 3 Point Blue Chip's a little bit different animal. You need him progressing, and when he wants to race, you can race him. When he does not want to race, or things just aren't great for him at that particular moment, you got to protect him. And if you don't, it's not going to end well at all. You know, and today, as I said, I just knew going into today that he was going to be good. Now, in other news, that's the racing so far today. We got 3 more left. 2 in Ohio with Aunt Lily and Highest Honors, and then we have Blue Rare in Ontario. Blue Rare's blood work wasn't the greatest this week, so we're hoping that she can kind of push through and move forward. Aunt Lily, again, new driver tonight with Austin Hanners driving Aunt Lily and Highest Honors. I talked to him briefly last night. I said, Austin, if you drive Aunt Lily like she's 6-1, she wouldn't shock me if she would have won that race. If you won't drive her like she's 7-5, I think everybody's going to be sorely disappointed with the outcome of Aunt Lily. But she's coming into the race pretty good. And as far as Highest Honors, I said he's just turned into a real sweetheart to drive. Put his nose right up in the gate, drive him however you want. Maybe a little grabby the first couple of steps off the car, but just an absolute gem to drive after that. And I think you'll like driving him. Those 3 are left today. And also today we made another purchase. I was bidding on the Pacer. Everybody asked, were you bidding on Bourbon Country? Yes, our county. Of course, I was bidding on him. I just didn't think he was worth $110,000. He very well likely could be. It looks he's heading to Yonkers. If he can get around a half, which I don't see any reason in his videos he wouldn't be able to, I'm sure they'll be able to recoup that, and he'll turn into the horse that everybody hoped that owned him before today. He'll turn into that horse, I'm sure, afterwards. Just to me, looking at potentially a Mohawk horse, my saving grace would have been, our exit strategy would have been that potential 70 claimer with allowance, puts him at 105 Canadian. We could take him and knock out a couple of wins. I'm thinking worst case scenario, where do we land on him? Best case scenario, go to Yonkers and clean up, right? Or go to the Meadows, or go have him ready for Miami Valley and Dayton. These are all things that were kind of flying around in my head, but the price had to be right. And I'm not saying that 110 was wrong. I know I talked to a couple people that knew him that thought he was worth around that 6-figure mark, that 100,000. I just thought that we could find a better fit for less. That is the best way for me to put it. And although I certainly am not trying to say that we found a better fit later on, but Allure, the 3-year-old filly with 2 lifetime wins. So a little background on her, and I can only tell you what I read, the same as everybody else if you did. Allure is a 3-year-old trotting filly that was doing pretty good in Kentucky, bled her last start, and that was pretty obvious on her lines. She showed 3rd by a length, 3rd by 5, 5th by 3, things like that, in contention in every race, and then goes out in her last start and is like 8 beat 20. And they said she bled. Obviously, Kentucky's not the spot for her. We can't race her off of Lasix with her bleeding, so we opted to sell her. 1 + 1 = 2. Everything looked above board to me. I thought at $23,800, here's a filly, we can start her in the maiden claimer. And that's pretty much her claiming tag. Or the number is a 2 claimer, which is 22.5, which puts her at 75% allowance on a 3-year-old filly. So if you're looking at somewhere around 20, that's $35,000. So there was lots of wiggle room there. At 23.5, my plan absolutely is to head to Northfield Park with her and race her in those condition claimers right up the classes. And this is the time of year that those horses start coming out. 2 wins. Even at 3 or 4 wins, a trotting filly, you're still in good contention. 2 wins, it just seemed to me like it was one of those tough to go wrong type situations, coming from a great horseman in Jonas Cernison. So it just made all the sense in the world to me. So Allure is our horse at 23,800. Pay very, very close attention. You thought that the other horse sold out quick in under a minute. Allure will sell out even quicker. This horse, whatever remaining shares there are, will be available at 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Friday morning at 10 a.m., those shares will go up for sale, all of them at once, and I can assure you they will not last long. So Allure, a 3-year-old devious man, New York, I think, a 3-year-old devious man filly will go up for sale tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., whatever shares are available. So that is everything in a nutshell. At 6 o'clock, or just before 6 o'clock here, I'm on my way back to Ontario. I'll get home around 11:30 or so. I'm going to stop to eat in Cranberry. I'll get home around 11:30 or so tonight. Up tomorrow, watch Ollie play baseball the entire day on Friday. I am so excited, to have today go so well, and then get to go home and watch Ollie play baseball is pretty much a perfect weekend thus far, at least a perfect start to it. For our long weekend, we have horses in Kentucky on Monday. James won't be able to drive. He's not going there. I noticed that he wasn't down on his filly, so he certainly isn't going to drive ours. Yannick is clear to drive Jolene Hall by the looks of it. Timmy's fine with Jailbird Jog, as far as I know. Now, I was thinking maybe I could take the kids and Amy and go to Kentucky on Monday, as it's a long weekend, but that makes a little sense. We'd have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning, drive all the way to Kentucky, only to race all afternoon, go out to eat, and drive all the way back home. That's something I'd be happy doing, and I'm sure Addie would be up for it. But Sunday, yes. Monday, no. Sunday, I have to be in Northfield Park, so maybe not the best timing for us, but we'll see. Now, when it comes to the other two fillies, I'll see who's available. James got along really well, although she didn't race well. The blood work did come back. It was all messed up, and we are well underway to fixing it. I got a note from Dr. Roberts and Eric last night saying blood work is on its way to being perfect, and I believe they're understanding the reason she was entered today was by Monday it would be back to normal. That was their plan. Eric had told me, and I didn't realize that. I thought the Wildcat was nominated as a 1 or 8 or 7,500, but it's just nominated as a 7,500. She did not fit that class anymore, so we just put her in the $15,000 class for Monday. We'll see how that plays out. That is Zena Kemp, Jolene Hall drew the outside. A lot of people asking. There was a lot of confusion, Anthony. What did you land on with Jolene Hall? So this is the plan with Jolene Hall. She's going to race in the race on Monday. They go for $15,000. She drew the outside. Irregardless of what happens on Monday, we are going to race her in the Buckeye on Jug Week. She's close to making the Jug Final or Consolation, so that makes all the sense in the world to do that. And then she'll close out her year one with Jug Week. Buckeye is 1. Either the Buckeye Consolation or Final is 2, Corbin 3, Corbin 4. 4 starts left in Jolene Hall's docket for 2025. Those are 2 fillies. Jailbird Jog, yes, she drew crappy again. Timmy will probably be able to. The only good thing about leaving from the outside is you get to look left in Kentucky. Now, I think in a perfect world, you float over, drop in 6, you're second or third over. Bob's your uncle down the lane. You get a real good run at them, but it doesn't always work out that way. So we'll see how Timmy drives her. But it's Tim Tetrick. He knows what he's doing. I certainly don't have to lay out a plan for Tim Tetrick to drive the horse. He knows exactly what he's doing. And then with Degas, drew the outside coming off the virus. Not going to make the final. Probably just treat her kind. Try and get paid, try and get some money. If you do finish 1-2, maybe you do make the final, I guess. But coming off the sickness, coming off a scratch, and then really working on her blood. Hers was a little more tricky to get under control, but Dr. Roberts and Eric believes they have it good. She'll be reasonably tight. I think she had a slow mile this week, going with a faster mile tomorrow. But again, you're leading into a stake race from the outside on Monday off a scratch stick and some legitimate sickness. I'm cautiously optimistic, but again, another filly that will probably just look to close out her 2025 season racing at Corbin. So what you might see is this race this week, maybe even a week or two in the field to really kind of freshen her up and let her take a run at the Corbin meet. That would be the plan. I'm really liking the idea of sending Winter Soldier down to the open trot in the Corbin meet also. I think that would be great. If we could come upon an open pacer also, that would be good. We are well underway to stocking the shelves, so to speak. We do have a rather big consignment of horses to sell coming up that I have penciled in. We'll see how that plays out next week. But for right now, we acquired 3 over the last 2 weeks. All 3 were winners in their first races. We've acquired another one today in Allure, coming out of the Jonas Cernison barn in Kentucky. He will join us here in Ohio. She will join us here in Ohio. Her first start will be right at Northfield Park. So that is a pretty busy day, a very good day at the office. As I said, smiles the whole way around, the whole way back to Ontario. Very happy with the way the fillies raced today. I know we're going to need a lot of luck, and we're probably not going to find it for Don't Ask Again. That's likely her last start of the season, but not the last start for Cherry's Girl. I believe the Consolation, she'll fit. I believe the Standardbred, Jug Week. We have lots of horses racing Jug Week. Where are we going there, big fella? You got to go in one lane. You can't have all the lanes. It's just not possible. Okay, you've chosen this one. Continue on. We will race in the Standardbred Jug Week with our girl Cherry's Girl, and then off to Virginia to close out her 2025 season. A very good closing race from My Name's Swaney. She's done for the season now. We'll pop those 2 OCDs out and continue on with her, and then 3 Point Blue Chip. Just nice to get that rather large monkey off our back. First win in 2025. See if we can get him on a bit of a roll now. There you have it. You're all caught up. We got 3 more races. Still got the Blue Jays tonight. Still got 3 more races tonight. Good luck to everybody tonight. It's starting to rain. Timing is good today. Take care.